Hey, everybody. Welcome. Once again, Not Move Podcast. Hockey show in the Wickets. Me, Dollface Gremlin, with my man, A-Train. How you doing today, brother?
I'm good, brother. We'll get into that. Yeah, could be better.
Could be better. But hey, let's get into the stuff then that's real easy to talk about and maybe not so touchy, is how those two series ended leading into the conference finals. We're here to see who decides who goes to the Stanley Cup. I couldn't be more excited. But first off, hey, Montreal and Buffalo, what an amazing end to that series. Had a lot of fun there. I think that Montreal eventually he just outlasted Buffalo. What do you think, A-Train? I really love that series. It was one of my favorites so far of the whole playoffs.
Yeah, a roller coaster that pushed both teams to the limit, right? This was must see TV for me, right? Just watching this series, how it played out, and just knowing that it was going to go to a game 7 and teams were so evenly matched. It was much watch TV, like I said. A dramatic game 7, 3-2 in overtime. You know, Alex Newhook, right? We got to talk about him, Graham. This is becoming a normal occurrence with this guy now, right? He ends the Cinderella story for Buffalo, puts the dagger in them. And man, he is one of 14 players to have two game 7 game winning goals, right? So there's only 14 guys that have done this, right? And he's the second ever to do it in a single postseason. So two record breaking stats for this man. I mean, I talked about him a little bit last week. He used to play on my squad. I know him. I've known his whole career. I followed him his whole career. Guy's really just playing great hockey.
Yeah, and I mean, I was thinking about that the whole time watching him just puck out in that series. Man, A-Train. I wonder what he's thinking this whole time watching this guy that could have been
What could have been,
possibly
right?
even, yeah, making that ranks even deeper on the Avalanche. But it's nice to see that someone, that your organization clearly scouted out properly has gone
Right.
on and done what was expected of him, right?
Yeah, and the future looks bright for both teams. I just want to give a shout out. Like both teams look like they're going to be good for years to come. I don't know if you see it that way. That's how I see it. I think it's only sky's the limit, and it's only up to these two teams to go up from here.
Right, right. Well, I will say this. One thing I want to point out is something that I think might come and bite Montreal in the butt this series is going to be their inability to consistently win at home. Right,
Yeah.
during the playoffs, the whole playoffs thus far, they're just not really good at the Bell Center, and it seems like maybe that's Canadian nerves or whatever it may be. But for some odd reason, they just love to go on the road and show those home teams who's really the boss. And uh, I don't know if that's going to transition to this Hurricanes team. We'll talk about that in the second half of the show. But what did you think about this for this? I mean, I thought it was a marvel that a team that went 7 games ended up beating the home team.
Yeah, Montreal, as we know, probably the best Canadian team, right? In the league right now, arguably. But they have 17 all-time game 7 wins now. Like
Right.
they're big, bro. They are, one of the great organizations of hockey. And this is the first time they've been back in the Eastern Conference Finals since 2021. So I mean, they have been there, but we have not them seen them reach this peak in quite a while. And to see a Canadian team actually have a shot at the cup, like a realistic chance where they're not eliminated yet. I mean, your hats off, got to go off to them. I kind of just want to amp up Montreal a little bit because, what they have coming is going to be no easy task, but we'll get into that later.
Yeah. What I do think it's not going to be an easy task, but let's talk Buffalo too, real quick.
Yeah.
Congratulations to Buffalo for making it to the second round after having very low expectations this whole season. In the beginning of the season, we got to shout out Buffalo and that whole team, young team that banded together and under the coaching of Lindy Ruff really took it to the league this year. I'm excited for their future. I just hope it's not like a 2-3 year window with this team. I hope it's a 5-6 year window of us seeing Buffalo in the playoffs again. What do you think about the job Lindy Ruff did this year?
Oh, that's going to be the big thing, right? And we're literally going to have a whole show to talk about this with Bro, and we can really dig deep and ask some of the questions to really break down his team because he's really good. He's very knowledgeable with his team, and I like when he talks about his team because he knows a lot about hockey. So I'm excited for that upcoming. The resiliency, right? They were down 0-2 early in this series, right? A lot of teams, when they get their back against the wall down 0-2 right off the rip, some of them don't bounce back, and they were literally one single goal away from, an Eastern Conference Finals, uh, crazy, right?
Yeah, man. I also want to shout out Lindy Ruff for his end of the year comments.
Okay. Yeah.
I thought what he said at the end of the year was really cool, man. What did you
Yeah.
think of his comments at the end of the year? I thought it was really reverberating through the team, right?
Well, and I mean, man, I've become fond of this guy. Like never really knew about him, didn't really follow him quite deeply in his career and stuff. But you know, right after that Olympic break, I was like, I really like this guy. There's something about this guy that really you just kind of root for him. You know what I mean? The whole team in
Right.
general, but the coach is what sets the train going. So when he's leading the helm, like he's just hard not to root for, to be honest with you, from my point of view.
Yeah, I agree. You have had a little bit of time in the younger years with Dallas, right? He coached
Yeah.
them for a little while.
Yeah, exactly.
But one comment I loved that he said at the end of the year was, "I wanted to make people feel proud of playing in Buffalo again,"
Yeah.
and I really think he did that with this team.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
In fact, yeah.
I can't wait till we get to talk to Bro, like you said, when he has some time to join us so he can break down his end of the season thoughts on Buffalo. But kudos, Buffalo. I think this is, yes, hang your head at the series loss, but I think it's a proud season for Buffalo getting to this point, and hopefully they're onwards and upwards, right?
Yeah. Really like Tage Thompson and really become a fan of that guy as well.
Yeah, me too. I think Tage is gonna keep showing the league. He's gonna be one of those guys to worry about. 40-goal scorer, big body. Watch out.
Yeah. Great player.
And now let's go on to who you're going to face, or who already faced in one game. The series between Anaheim and Vegas ended, and obviously, I was kind of rooting for Anaheim because I like the younger guys. I like seeing the younger guys come up in pressure situations, but Vegas did what needed to be done at the end of that, didn't they?
Yeah, I'm looking at just kind of like what happened in this 6-game series. Vegas wins 3-1 in the first game, and then the Ducks win 3-1, so they're going back and forth. So 1-1, and then Vegas bounces back and has a big 6-2 game, right? So obviously a little bit more domination in the 6-2 win, and then the Ducks fight back, win 4-3, close game, but the Ducks pull it off. And then the next game, game 5, is a super close game as well. Vegas wins 3-2, another close game. And then game 6, that's when Vegas just, put the dagger in them. Mitch Marner torched these Ducks. The interesting stat I found on him was back-to-back multi-point outings in game-clinching games. So this guy is showing that he has that clutch factor, Graham. He's showing, and I mean, there's a couple questions I was going to ask you in this. The first one was going to be, I've been getting a lot of people talking to me because a lot of people have noticed that between the legs goal, you think it's up there with one of the best?
I think it belongs in one of the best in the playoffs ever.
Mm-hmm.
For sure. Like that's so impressive to me. To see that type of goal in the playoffs in a high pressure situation from a guy. Remember, dude, last year, everybody in Toronto crapping all over this guy.
Exactly.
And Mitch Marner says, "All right, I'm out. I'm going to go and play for another competitive team, and I'll go enjoy my time in Vegas." And guess what? He's really enjoying his time in Vegas. And that was just the icing on top for him being there in Vegas so far, getting to the next round. Just that slick goal.
Yeah, he's had an interesting career to follow up to this point. And another guy that I hate to say it, but he's shown me that he is a dog in this league, and he's showing out. Now, the next one I was going to ask you about, the next question was going to be same team, Carter Hart, right? Do you think he's the best goalie left in these playoffs?
No.
Okay. I was just curious because there was an argument that I saw, online where one guy was trying to argue that he's the best goalie left.
I think he's the freshest goalie left.
Right.
I think he's, with all that time off and coming into the league late this year, I think he's the freshest. But I'm still not. Nobody can convince me otherwise that Freddie Anderson and Dobe is then after him, and then your goaltenders are not the ones to watch. I mean, one thing I want to bring up about Montreal is every time they lose, Dobe comes back and wins the game. The next game.
That's what I was going to say. I was going to bring that up, but I was like, we'll just save that for a later date. But you're right. What's up with that? It's crazy, huh?
Oh, for a young man too, right? Young goaltender to bounce back like that in the playoffs. That's showing me some mental fortitude that I didn't think he had.
Right. Facts. Right. Yeah. So Carter Hart, the save percentage is good, over the 2 rounds, 0.935. That was one thing that I was looking up. Dude, guy's playing like a brick wall, he's just, he played really good against us last night. I don't really want to talk too much about him, but player profile, NMP player profile. So hopefully it doesn't bite me in the butt, but Pavel, right? Dorofiev. Gosh, that one's so hard. Yeah, 9 playoff goals. This guy is everything we talked about in that player profile and more. He has really showed out, in this playoff run.
Yeah, I mean, obviously getting the scoring going with keeping the scoring going rather in that second period with that power play goal. He's just lethal on special teams. Absolutely lethal.
And we gotta give our shout out, right? Give our shout out to the Ducks, right? They had a great season.
Yeah, I'm impressed with Jackson Lacombe. I am really impressed with Jackson Lacombe. I'm so happy to see that he did well and he's being recognized for his efforts in the playoffs, right?
Yeah.
And then another guy we talked about who was part of the player profile, Leo Carlson, another NMP guy we focused on. I think he had a very good playoffs. And, he just, I think at the end, I think maybe it just caught up with that young team. They're experiencing life in the playoffs for real, for the first time.
Yeah, we hit on it earlier. We kind of had a feeling this was going to happen. We talked about it in previous episodes where we kind of felt like they might just be a little bit too young and this might be a little bit too big of a moment.
Yeah, and the veterans, specifically Killorn. I was really impressed with Killorn in the second round as well as the first round. He did a good job in my eyes. And I was happy to see that he was trying to get that leadership. But Kreider was very down in that second round to me. I didn't think he played nearly as well as he needed to. And the goaltending ended up failing. So we'll see what the Ducks do for next year. It's going to be a fun offseason with them, given the young core. And Quenneville at the helm, I do see next year being just better for them, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I'm excited to have our bare knuckle buddy up here and kind of just break down his team as well. I kind of want to just get to know these teams a little bit more, Don't really know a whole lot about Buffalo. Don't really know a lot about Anaheim. So I really want to just, get some questions going for these guys and kind of just hear them a little bit more about their team. You know what I mean? And what they think about their team.
I do too. It'll be exciting because, guys, we got stuff coming up in the offseason, obviously, after the Stanley Cup goes down. We're going to be talking the draft. We'll be talking the free agency market. We'll be talking all the trades. We're still going to try and keep it going week by week as long as we can until, obviously NMP runs hard during football season. And we're going to be running hard on football season just as well. And, of course, got the dribble. Always check out the dribble. They're going to be trying to go hard afterwards doing draft, off-season trades. And, we got some friends we're trying to come on in the off-season and really get some in-depth going on these teams, right, A-Train?
Yep. New England has already been sending me some pretty sweet edits, some videos. He just made one of Julio Jones that he's going to put out, but I want him to do a hockey one for us.
Yeah, yeah. Our buddy New England, he is obviously, I believe he's a Bruins fan. Sorry about that, New England. So he has been able to make some fire edits and videos that he's been putting out there. So please go check him out, New England. You can find him on TikTok, and I'm sure you're going to be seeing a lot more of him here really, really soon. Also, Jimmy is running it and holding it down with the scrap sheet. Jimmy was off on fire with his picks the last time. I think he was only 4 off on those on the UFC card.
Yeah,
he was like 8 on, 4 off. So, folks, pay attention to what Jimmy's feeding you, because you're batting 7. You're batting that 750 with Jimmy so far. So you got to keep it rolling with him. Robert is doing interview after interview after interview, and on Ringside Rewind, he's zip. Boys are all holding it down. Got to check it out. Not Move. We're doing a lot of big things. But
yes, sir.
Why don't we show you some of those big things in this commercial? Because afterwards, we're going to talk about the current playoff matchups and what we hope to see. Let's keep it Not Move. Stay with us.
The Not Move podcast is fueled by Dubby Energy. Smooth, jitter-free focus, and flavors that slap. Mango, berry, watermelon. Whatever gets you locked in, they've got it. Hit up Dubby.gg, use promo code NOTMOVED, and snag 10% off your order. Stay not moved, stay energized.
Number Friday nights, 9 Eastern. It's the Dribble, NBA edition on the Not Move podcast. We break down the week, the trades, the highlights, everything around the league. Tap in, chop it up with us, and get the takes that move the game forward. Stay not moved.
The Not Moved podcast drop is here. Snapbacks, hoodies, mugs, stickers, totes, everything you need to rep the convo everywhere you go. Limited run, unlimited style. Tap the link, fill the cart, and
tap into the Not Moved podcast every Friday night at 8 Eastern.
We're bringing the scrap sheet, UFC edition.
Every jab, every takedown, every headline.
All the fights, all the drama, all the picks, right here.
Watch live on YouTube or listen anywhere you get your podcast. Hit follow, hit subscribe.
And stay not moved.
Need some new Not Move drip? The In the Wickets hoodie just dropped. Super soft fleece, heavyweight feel, and the official NMP patch on the sleeve. Tap add to cart, check out, and let us handle the rest. In a couple days, it shows up at your door, ready to rock. Rep the podcast from the couch to the tip.
Every Thursday night, the Not Move podcast drops a new episode of
In the Wickets,
our deep dive on everything around the NHL.
We break down the plays, the trades, the stats, and the stories that matter.
Plus a few hot takes along the way.
Join us live at 8 p.m. Eastern, or catch it on your favorite podcast app right after.
Same energy, same on.
Tuesday nights just got louder. Ringside Rewind is live every week, 9 Eastern.
We're breaking down Raw, SmackDown, and everything leading into the weekend. If it happens between the ropes, we're talking about it.
Deep dives, hot takes, and a few surprise
and
replays.
A whole lot of arguing.
Yeah, but the good kind.
Ringside.
The Orphan Elimination Chamber tee just dropped. Fresh out the box. Look at this.
That print is nasty. Chain link O, silver hit. It's tough.
It's soft too, y'all. Fits right. Little drip for the Elimination Chamber weekend.
We rocking these all season.
If you're part of the Not Move fam, you already know.
Jump on it before it's
gone.
Grab
yours now at Not Move Shop.
Episode of the Not Move podcast is brought to you by the MLB Shop. They have every team's gear, from classic caps to World Baseball Classic hoodies, all official and all ready for game day. Tap the link in our bio to head straight to the shop and snag your favorite merch.
The drop is here. NMP gear built for every day and game day. Hoodies, mugs, and the Coach Common jersey in bold gold. Rep the movement. Feel the energy. Shop new arrivals.
If you're craving baseball talk that doesn't flinch, tap in with us Monday nights at 8 Eastern.
It's the Rusty Mitt MLB edition of the Not Move podcast. Breakdowns, debates, all the swings and misses without the fake fluff.
Join us live or catch the replay wherever you get your pods. Rusty Mitt, not moved. Stay not moved.
Attention Not Move Nation. Our first ever jersey has landed. The NMP by JB Sport Talk collab brings premium mesh, bold gold accents, and that undeniable game day energy. Plus, hoodie drop.
Today's episode of Not Moved is brought to you by Open Goal, the world's #1 backyard goal. If you love soccer but hate chasing balls into the neighbor's yard, this thing is a game changer. Its rebound net sends missed shots right back to you, and the side nets keep your landscaping and your windows safe. It's perfect for kids, for training, or just having fun.
Today's episode of the Not Move podcast is brought to you by Walmart.com. With our storefront in the Walmart app, you can get everything you need. Pick up or have it delivered.
We ordered dinner while recording and it showed up before we wrapped.
Better Good sweet corn and burrata ravioli.
Nuri protein drinks, even St. Patrick's Day treats.
Walmart.com.
Not Move, fam. Southgate edition just landed and it's fire. Check the tee. Watch out for the skis and the wickets. Hockey stick, cricket wickets, all vibes. We got hoodies, mugs, caps, beanies, whatever you need. Cop yours before they...
At the Not Move podcast, just drop the gear.
Heavyweight hoodies, premium cotton, street ready.
Caps, mugs, and more. Every detail on point.
Whether you're hooping, tailgating, or just repping the pod, NMP fits the culture.
Limited drops. When they're gone, they're gone.
Cop yours today at notmoveshop.fourthwall.com.
All right, everyone. It's time to switch it up. Time to talk about the current series. Thanks for hanging with us through the break. And we're going to jump right into it, A-Train. We're going to just rip the Band-Aid off. Game 1, Golden Knights, Colorado. I need to preface this. It was a 4-2 loss, but no Cale Makar. Still, they're calling it just an undisclosed upper body injury, but from what you saw and what we were talking about, looks like separated shoulder. Still questionable for the next game. So let's get into it, man. That's a big loss.
Yeah, and it showed in this game, right? So, it really just our defensive pairings were just shuffled, right? We had Taves, Kulak, they just had to log, long minutes, and that's just not what we've built up to this point. It's Cale Makar. You got this, second best player on our team, arguably a top 5 player in this league. It's not like you're just missing a role player. This guy brings a different element to the game, just the speed. I've ranted and raved about this guy. What he's about. Like when he's not on that ice, it really showed, like I said, and this is the first time that I've really had to deal with adversity in these playoffs, right? Right. The Wild, they pulled a couple games out, not much of a scare. I really wasn't concerned about the Wild, but, for Vegas to come in game 1 and still home ice advantage, like it's definitely like not the way I wanted to start this series, right? The Knights were just more disciplined. They were just the more disciplined and physical team, and because I watched the whole game, right? We were making our thing, and I was watching the game as we were doing it, and I was sucked into the game, and that's the 2 things that really popped out to me, the 3 goals early when you're down to a 0-3 deficit right off the gate, obviously we are a team built to come back, but I just saw that timer going tick tock, it just was winding down, the goals were the difference, right? Early in the game, especially when they got that 3rd goal, it was a 2-on-1 advantage, and Wedgwood makes a block, and there goes the puck, and off the rebound, that's what scores the goal off a bounce, right? So those are really the tough ones to take. If it's someone made like a skilled play, like Marner made a skilled play, hats off. But when you're in position, you make a stop, and it's off a rebound bouncing puck, it hurts a little bit more, in my opinion.
Yeah, and what hurt too is we saw the goal from Landy that we thought was really putting that momentum forward, and then what was it? It seemed it was less than 2 minutes after that. Right away, you and I both saw the next goal from Dow, and that was the icing on the cake. That was the killer.
Yeah, definitely got to eat some humble pie this week. Yeah, Nichushkin on my side, Nichushkin and Landeskog, they scored 2 late goals, but once it came down to crunch time, and we're down a goal, we got to pull Wedgwood, right? And of course, what happens? Empty net goal, which is why the final score resulted in 4-2. It was 3-2 there late. And then I honestly thought, if there's a team built to do this and come back like, this kind of fashion, we've already done this and showed this in this playoffs. I thought, it gives me hope. You know what I mean? Like I knew we weren't completely out of the water, but like we'll circle back to what we said before, Cale Makar, the Cale Makar factor, he's day to day. We'll see Friday morning, they open skate in the morning. We'll know Friday morning if he will be playing in game 2. And hockey players are just built different, NBA, no shot. No, I don't want to throw anything on our basketball podcast, but our hockey guys are just built a little different. Same with baseball. Players miss time. Hockey players get their teeth broken out, broken jaws, and they're playing. They get hit in the face with a puck at a ridiculous speed and still can play through injury. These guys are resilient. That's what gives me hope. If it was any other sport, I'd be a little bit more worried about Cale Makar, to be honest with you.
Right. And I mean, as evidenced by your boy, Nady Mack, speaking of taking pucks to the face, what do? He came right back, put the empty netter in to seal that deal in the last series. So hockey players are just a different breed. I do think maybe this game it might be an outlier. I think they're going to shuffle that defensive pairings up to make it better if Cale Makar is not playing. But in your opinion, with them stealing that first game, do you think this extends the series maybe to 7? Do you think this is a 7-gamer?
Yeah, so coming into this series, I'm like, they're going to give us 5 to 6 games. I think this is going to be a nail biter for me. I was hoping this was going to be a nice little path to Carolina, like we had spoken about prior, which is, I think, we'll get into that team later. But, it just really changed things, right? So Carolina was favored to win the cup prior, right? Well,
Right.
Colorado came back when I sent you that, that little picture, and Colorado became the new Stanley Cup favorite, right? Right after that Wild series. Now with this happening, because I kind of look at that kind of stuff, right? We're barely favored now. We're still favored, but we're barely favored to beat the Knights now, Vegas odds, right? We're no longer Cup favorites, so that goes back to Carolina because of what happened, and I think the biggest one that really kind of scares me right now is only 25% win the series after losing game 1. So percentage-wise, that doesn't look good. But like I said, if there is a team that is built and can do this, it's going to be the Colorado Avalanche.
Yeah, I think what's going to end up happening here if Cale Makar doesn't return is that's where I'm going to be a little more concerned because I, like you, I don't like seeing Kulak up there as the number 1 pairing with Taves. It didn't seem right that whole game. They were taking advantage of it. But I think Carter Hart is going to maybe show some cracks from, just not playing as much also. Like, yes, he may be fresh, but he's been out of the league for a couple years, due to what he was dealing with off ice. And I think this might be the time where Colorado, if they keep pummeling him with shots like they did that first game, what do you have? 38 shots on goal. He made 36 saves. A lot of those shots, if you're noticing, right on.
Yeah.
Big juicy.
There was some close ones. There were some close ones, Graham. Like, there was some really close ones. Yeah.
I don't want to diminish Carter Hart. He did do a great job that first game. But I think the quality of shots from the Avalanche are going to increase, and he's going to have a tougher time come game 2. And knock on wood, we'll see Cale Makar there. What'd you think about your goaltending, though, that first game? I didn't think it was too terrible. I just think Vegas got the best of it.
I think that's what it was, too. He allowed 3 goals. Wedgwood allowed 3 goals in final tally. But, like I said, a bouncing one when he just priorly made a save, like, there's a lot of things that just, it's hard to pinpoint what my total breakdown for game 1 is because I need to see what happens here on Friday to kind of really judge what I saw because I felt like even though they were up 3-0, I didn't feel like we were out of it. You know what I mean? Like I didn't feel like we were dead, and a lot of the people in my town, like, will watch the games together and stuff. And, what happened with the Avalanche? What happened with the Avalanche? They always ask me, and, I just tell them we're going to be fine. So nothing's changed from me. I think we're going to be fine. I think it's not time to panic. One game, this is a 7-game series. We got a long road ahead of us. And, I'd rather be more battle tested, to be honest with you. I don't want this, cupcake schedule, playoff series to get me to play a dominant team, for Lord Stanley's Cup and my team not be ready and come out flat,
Yeah. Well, and to be fair, the second round, I don't think was a cupcake team. I think you caught the Wild at the right time.
Yeah.
And this round, I think Vegas has benefited from playing 2 teams in the beginning that we all didn't think were going to get to the Stanley Cup Finals. I think we can say that now with hindsight, and I think we both said it in the beginning. We did not think either of those teams, especially we thought the Ducks were ahead of where they should be.
Yeah.
So I think Vegas now, after taking this game, is they're going to meet that superstar team that they haven't really seen in game 2, and it'll be, it'll probably go 1-1. I do think it's going to be a 7-game series. Hesitantly, I'm still not sure who to pick. If it's Tortorella season, brother, I'm not. I just want Cale Makar to come back because this is the only thing affecting my opinion is the number one defenseman in the league not being there.
Yeah, and that was the thing, right? Is it kind of I don't want to say it just crept up on us, but there was like, oh, did you see how hard Cale got hurt? And he limped off the ice, and you're like, oh, these guys are tough. He'll come back. He comes back. But then, here we go. It's game one, and they announced, earlier that day, Cale Makar's not playing. So I didn't. I mean, there was rumblings he might not play, but I was like, I hear that all the time. These hockey players are tough. But then they're like, no, he's definitely not playing game one. And when the news broke, it was like on the radio. It was, on TV, like, especially when you're in the city that is happening, it's just a shockwave. It sends shockwaves around the city. And that's what happens, especially when your team has a championship caliber and you're expected to win a cup. The whole town knows about it.
Yes. Well, I am excited for this series, A-Train. As a person just sitting from the sidelines this year, it's really cool to see Vegas on this run. They have the talent, that. Luckily, it seems like Mark Stone is also being a little bit delayed. In his playing. So that's kind of the scales are slowly evening out there. So I'm excited for game 2 tomorrow night. I can't wait to see what happens. By the way, man, Colorado really knows how to dress up an arena for that playoff conference final game, huh?
Yeah, we, and that home ice advantage is real important. That's why it was such a big deal that they stole game 1 from us. And they, any sport, especially in a 7-game series, this is a series now, right?
Yes.
So now the smack talk's coming out. Now you're going to see me in my full element, especially when I drop game 1. You're going to see me in my full element.
I love it.
Yeah.
Well, let's get into the next series because it's starting here in 45 minutes or a half hour. It's going to be Montreal in Carolina for game 1. I'm a little wary of this series because Montreal plays Carolina really well. Montreal this year has beat them in all 3 meetings with no less than 3 goals in each game, and also no less than 2 goal separation. They have played really well against the Hurricanes this year, and Montreal. What did we talk about earlier? Having just won on the road in Buffalo, now they're going on the road for the first 2 games where they excel. The Hurricanes, this could be game 1 could be like Colorado against Vegas. This could be a trap game for them.
Yeah, trap games happen in hockey, believe it or not just in football, right? It happens in hockey too, right? So Carolina, right? 2 rounds, not losing a game, right? They've now rested 11 days, 11 total days, and they have not trailed in those 2 rounds. So, you look at this team, you're like, well rested, 11 days rest. They've just steamrolled through these playoffs. But then we look on the others. We're going to look at it. Every story has 2 sides, right? The Habs, what are they, Graham? They're battle tested now, right? Emotions are an all-time high, right? When you're sweeping your way through the playoffs, you're not really, you're happy. But when you're battle tested like this Habs team is now, right? They're running high on emotions, right? A lot of adrenaline, and they played the maximum 14 games. 14 games. They went to a 7-game series and then another 7-game series. So the trail for this Montreal team is going to take a lot of grit, determination. It's going to take a lot out of them.
It really is. This Montreal team right now is being led by a 21-year-old defenseman in Lane Hudson on the back end, who is playing like a seasoned veteran in this playoffs. I mean, you see of course, the youth hiccups here and there, but he is just backing this blue line, handling the puck tremendously. His skating ability is these new age defensemen coming in that can all skate like Cale Makar, Quinn Hughes, Zach Werenski. I'm excited for that. I'm a defenseman type of guy, so like Matt Schaefer, congratulations again, winning the Rookie of the Year.
Right.
Very proud of that for him. But Lane Hudson has just been incredible, as well as your boy Newhook, who just took that series by storm last against Buffalo. This to me feels like if the Hurricanes, if they didn't pay attention during this 11 days off, like you're talking about, this might come up and creep up on them. And Marty St. Louis, the type of coach, he's going to take advantage.
Yeah. I mean, we look at I like to break down teams. I know about them. I like to break them down a little bit more, looking at the star power and stuff, Nick Suzuki, Cole Caulfield, Slavskovsky, and then, like you said, the new guy that we're talking about, that rookie, Lane Hudson, that's their big four right there, right? They've been playing very well, and they're going to be matched up against Carolina's suffocating defense, right? We got Jackson Blake, right, playing very well, Tyler Hall playing very well, and then Stankoven, right? Logan Stankoven, right? And that's going to be the big three to watch over on Carolina, right? So I guess Taylor Hall has 31 points in 8 games. That's pretty damn good.
Taylor Hall, I'm happy to see he's thriving, right? Because what did we say last time? He was kind of left for dead after that MVP season in New Jersey.
Yep. Right. So
I don't know what to think of this series, A-Train. I think this is a possible 7-gamer again. And if it is, man, the Canadians are that is going to be one tired team if they win or lose at the end of this. But Carolina with the rest, I heard something on another hockey show talking about it, and them saying they could have had some guys go over playing the IIHF World Tournament.
Oh my God!
Come back, play like 2 games, come back, and get ready to go. And,
right.
And you're right. The sitting for so long in hockey is not always, especially goaltending. Can Freddie Anderson keep up his stellar play through another series? This is, that's the big story for me as well, for the Carolina Hurricanes side. Freddie Anderson has been really impressive. I want to see him keep it up because I like seeing guys who have kind of been dismissed, for playoff play in the past come up and get theirs. But Freddie, there's no denying he has been wonderful this playoffs, and he's got 8 wins. He's only allowed 10 goals against in those 8 wins. He's got 95 save percentage, 1.12 goals against average in the playoffs, A-Train.
Yeah, so I was going to bring that up if you didn't. That's impressive. That's super impressive. The guy, like you said, he's arguably the best goalie left in these playoffs. So let's just see how this rest has affected him. I'm really looking forward. I'm going to watch the whole game tonight. I'm really interested to see if Carolina comes out flat. We kind of came out flat, and you saw what happened. And this is just good for hockey, especially if Montreal steals this game 1. It's just good for hockey. You got the guys that, it's a series now. Like I said, when you lose that game, on home ice, it's officially, someone steals a game, it's become a series. So I hope this kind of happens in this game as well, to be honest with you.
Me too. I'm excited. I think these playoffs thus far leading up to it have been really fun. Especially when you see the Oilers getting slapped out early. That was fun. I know Flyers fans, you're happy the Pens got slapped out. Hey, more power to you. I still think you're disgusting. And it was nice to see teams like the Ducks get to the second round. Cool to see teams like the Mammoth getting into the playoffs with that young group. I'm excited now for these different teams that are rotating and cycling in these playoffs to see what the future holds. And this playoffs has really, I think, also brought a lot of fans in as well.
Oh, like we said before, this All-Star break, how many people just came to me in the live and just like talking to people, around me, talking to them in person, and they're like, did you watch the Olympics? Did you watch US? Did you watch Canada? Like, it was real fun this year. This is definitely going to be one we're going to remember, just because not only what Team USA did, but just watching how the whole season's played out, and like you said, we're going to break down the trades. We're going to be breaking down. It's going to be real fun to talk about the off season too.
Yeah, I'm excited for the off-season news. Trades are my favorite. I like to investigate the future, especially when prospects are involved. That's the best. I can't wait to go in a deeper dive at the end of the season on the Panarin trade. I think it's a disaster for LA, and I can't wait to break it down. And that the prospect that went over to the Rangers from that trade. So that we do have some stuff that you guys, even after the Cup, you can stick with us on Not Moved. And I don't know if we want anything else we want to touch on, A-Train. We got a game coming up here in 20 minutes. Game 1.
Yep, we're at that point where, we know the final 4 teams are here. They know what they need to do. Now they just need to go out there and execute. So a lot of star power still left in this playoffs, a lot of powerhouses, a lot of underdogs still. We'll see how it shapes out.
Yep, and everybody, shout out to all our NMP members, Coach Commons, Southgate, love you, brother. Hope to see you out there and get you back on here soon. We got our boy JB, the big man in the booth, the co-founder with our boy here, A-Train. We've got all our other guys, Tina's holding it down with Bando, Bags in the basketball squad, Ja with Robert and Zip and Jimmy and wrestling and MMA. We've got members all over doing big things, guys. You really want to stick with Not Move. And I hope you see us next week. We'll be back here. Hopefully we got a friend to discuss, and hopefully these Avs, go Avs, go. That's right. I know. I said it. Go Avs, go. NMP for life. We'll see you guys next week.
This non-casual podcast may not be reproduced, retransmitted, or reused without the authorized written consent of the Not Move Podcast Network. Thank you, and we hope you enjoyed today's broadcast.